Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Your Excellency, Dr. Salim Al-Malik, honorable ministers, Dr. Shannon, May and her New Globe partners and team, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to stand here as the head of the ISISCO education sector. My name is Dr. Hadija Tusi. I'm just going to spend between 5 to 8 minutes to give you an overview of what the education sector in ISISCO is doing to support your transformation agenda in all our member states. So it's a pleasure to welcome you all. I particularly would love to welcome my dear sister, the current Minister of Basic and Secondary Education in the Gambia, Dr. Habibata Drame, together with the Gambia team that are sitting here. Because last year, I joined the first high-level ministerial dialogue organized by ISISCO as the Minister for Basic and Secondary Education from the Republic of the Gambia. So it's almost like I have come full circle. So last year, this dialogue presented a very strong platform for you ministers to deliberate on what are the priorities, what are your challenges, and also what are the opportunities in your respective countries that needs to be put in place in order for you to achieve your transformation agenda. So we listened very, very carefully, and we heard the issues of inclusion, the issue of gender parity and equity, the issue of artificial intelligence, and so many other key priorities that you have identified last year. So we took very, very good notes. In November of last year, ISISCO organized a very high-level interministerial dialogue in Oman, interministerial conference in Oman. And over 100 participants, including the ministers from our member states, deliberated for 2 days on what are the key priority actions that needs to be put in place at your country level in order to support the transformation agenda. So we had many, many participants from multilateral organizations, bilateral organizations, civil society, and international organizations that put their thinking cap on. And as a result of that, there was the Muscat Declaration, which was supported by a resolution that provided very key, concrete priorities that you have identified for ISISCO's support together with its partners in helping you to achieve your transformation agenda in line with SDG 4. And during the conference in Muscat, we have heard some of the key priority areas that you ministers were committed to. And first is the empowering teachers and upgrading professional development for the teachers. We have seen the global statistics. 44 million teachers are required, out of which 31 million are required for senior secondary level and 13 million are required for basic level if you are to achieve the SDG goal 2030. So it becomes very imperative for ISISCO to provide that support together with its partners in this room and outside. The second important commitment that we heard from you is integrating artificial intelligence and technology in order to modernize education systems. We are all living in the digital era, and we have seen in the case of the Africa region a very big digital divide. So one of the commitments from you was how to integrate education technology into the education system that will help transform your sector into quality, to producing quality learning. We've also had embedding green education. We have all seen the impact of climate change, particularly at the education level, particularly at the schools level. Currently in Pakistan, we are seeing that significant number of children were impacted in the state of Punjab about the impacts of smoke. And UNICEF has recently published a study that demonstrated that up to 19 million children will develop respiratory problems in the future because of this climate-induced incidents. So ISISCO, the education sector, has collaborated with Cambridge University, and we have developed a greening education policy that we will use to support you in your respective member countries on how to green the curriculum, the school, the teachers, and how to effectively engage community participation. We have also heard your commitment to enhance gender equity into the education system. During the keynote speech of Mrs. Bridget Vilvicin in the Education World Forum, she has quoted that over 300 million children are currently out of school. And I'm adding, according to the recent statistics, that 150 million of those are girls. So it becomes very imperative, as part of your commitment, to enhance gender equity and equality at the classroom level. We have also heard of your commitment to integrate TVET, technical, vocational, and training programs into your education system. Why? Because in the Africa region, for example, the biggest asset is not gold, it's not oil, it's not diamonds. Right now in this region, the biggest asset are youth, because 60% of the entire regional population are youth, and not every single one of them can transit into higher education. So we've heard your commitment to put in place effective, digitalized, technical and vocational training programs that are offered to youth in order to empower them to transit into the labor market in order to contribute to sustainable development. Yeah. So, having heard all these commitments that you have made in Oman, the education sector went back to Rabat, and we regrouped ourselves, and we took your resolution and all the priority activities that you have identified that you believe that will contribute to transformation of your education systems. And these are the concrete activities, and we have bulleted them into inclusion pillar, into innovation, and also into information. So I'm not going to go in details, but some of the inclusion activities include the use of structured pedagogy, which I will give an example. Education in crisis countries. We've seen that 20 million children currently in southern Sudan are out of school. 800,000 students in Palestine are out of school. So it's an imperative to support conflict countries. We also hear from you the strategic priorities of lifelong learning, integrating sociocultural and spiritual identity into our curriculum, because this is what makes ICISCO unique, and this is the value that ICISCO brings to the table. Under the innovation pillar, an example will be the STEM education programs. We have heard from some of the member states about the STEM, especially for girls, that are currently being implemented. We also heard about greening and also civic education. And on the information pillar, we've heard about your priorities to put in place effective information education management data systems that will be used to inform your policy. Of course, the importance of international assessments combined with policy and research and knowledge learning and sharing for cross-regional fertilization. Okay? So I'm just going to give you one example of an enabling environment for the inclusion bit. We have seen that for every additional year that a girl is in school, in its lifetime, it increases earning by 18%. According to World Bank research, investing in girls' education contributes to economic and social development at a faster rate. We have also seen, according to World Bank research, that between 30 to 50 trillion US dollars will be lost in a lifetime if girls are not integrated and included in the education system. So those figures are striking. We have also seen the importance of foundational learning. You have mentioned that one of the key priority areas that you would need support from ICISCO and from our member states in transforming your system is to focus on foundational learning at the basic level. This is a must, and it is not non-negotiable. And foundational learning uses structured pedagogy with very effective interventions at the classroom level can lead to good quality outcomes at the end of the day. Just an example on innovation. The quality of teaching is very, very important. ICISCO has partnered with the International Baccalaureate Organization to develop a policy on professional development of the teachers. It becomes very imperative to train, to provide in-service and pre-service teacher training in order for them to effectively teach, in order to get the good quality outcomes. I'll just give you a small anecdote. Recently, my team and I traveled to Kawara State in Nigeria on a fact-finding mission where we wanted to see how is the State Minister of Education in Kawara State is addressing the system transformation. We visited very geographically isolated and rural schools. And some of these schools, if you look at the infrastructure, they were in very, very poor condition. However, the effective teaching method that the teachers are using, digital skills are being provided by Kawara State to the teachers, where all the scripted lessons are downloaded into this tablet, and they're using it as a basis for quality learning, dialogue, and exchange with students at the classroom level. Not only that, but we have seen the state-of-the-art data management system where the minister in his office or anybody can click with a button, and it will provide you real-time data on the attendance of the teachers, the performance, the absenteeism, the retention. Incredible database system that helps to inform the quality of learning at the end of the day. We have seen that information and data provides enabling evidence-based actions that ultimately leads to sustained impacts. So putting in place effective data management systems are very, very important as part of your transformation agenda. So moving forward from today, we are very excited to be here. We are here to listen. If you look at your agenda, there's going to be a dialogue where, again, we will appeal to you to continue providing us your priority areas so that we can put it together and work with our partners in order to support your transformation agenda. Together, these discussions will offer concrete actions for moving forward the system education transformation. With that, I thank you for your attention.